Joe Stewart here with head Linfield football coach Joseph Smith as we are looking ahead to round 2 of the 2022 NCAA D3 football playoffs after you guys come away with the 51-24 win against Pomona-Pitzer in the first round right here in Richmondville. That was a kind of a wild game in a lot of ways. They gave you as good a test as you have faced all year long for 3 quarters there before a couple key plays on special teams and on defense really seemed to shift the momentum. And in that fourth quarter, I mean, I think it went from being 24-21 to 51-20 or 51-24 in less than 6 minutes of game time. Just kind of give us the story of the game from your perspective. One of the most interesting ones I've certainly gotten to see covering Linfield.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, that spurtability, if you will, has been something we've prided ourselves on for a long time, and I think when you see an avalanche like that, usually that means all 3 phases are hitting at the same time. You're getting some quick 3-and-outs or turnovers combined with massive field position advantage, combined with a couple quick scores, and then boy, it all repeats again. And that's certainly what happened for us in the fourth quarter. But before that, I was really impressed with Pomona. I thought. Going into the game, I really believed they were well coached. They don't make mistakes. They play really hard, and they were very nice and disciplined and did a good job of giving us some problems on offense in particular and hit some plays. I mean, boy, the long passes they hit. I thought 45 had a tremendous game, and so they made plays like we thought they could and turned into a one-score game, like you said. And I thought the game really changed, honestly, in the third quarter when we handled the wind, and the wind was a factor, and we were able to take about 5 minutes of what remained in the third quarter and eat all that up while driving, and then flip at the quarter change, got the wind and was able to make a long field goal. And I think after that, it really spurred things.
Yeah, that 50-yard field goal, and then the block punt late by Jet Searle, a couple sacks. I mean, guys were just making the biggest plays of their lives, really, at the right moments. But in that third quarter, you also called 3 timeouts, which I think had a lot of people rooting for the Wildcats a little bit concerned. You don't see that very often. What was the reasoning for calling those timeouts so early, and what did you say to the guys during those breaks?
Well, it certainly wasn't something we wanted to do. When you see a defense take a timeout or an offense takes a timeout, it means they've got a problem, and so obviously we were having problems. And from either a play calling standpoint or maybe something we saw that we didn't like, and so when things, aren't going well, you tend to see those more than when things are going great. So yeah, we didn't want to have to take our timeouts, but I know we took one on defense and then a couple on offense, and I was certainly very upset taking those as well, but we needed to do that at that time.
What were the kind of adjustments that were made from those?
Well, all those were to avoid delay of games,
okay,
right?
So
it was communication, some play calling things. We didn't like the call we had, wanted to change it, vice versa, things like that.
Then on special teams, we've seen that punt return unit create a massive margin for you guys all season long with the field position, the way that they're able to swing momentum. We didn't see a ton of massive returns. We saw a couple nice ones from Paul Thigh, McLean, Stone King, but it was Jet Searle making plays, blocking 2 punts, including that one late at the start of the fourth quarter to set up the touchdown for you guys. That special teams unit, just how have they – what is it about this group that it seems to, raise the bar against every other special teams unit that you've had to go against this season?
I think one, they've really kind of bought into the difference they can make, and when they see how they can turn a game, I think that's motivating and makes them even focus that much more on the particulars of what they're trying to accomplish, schematically or their fundamentals, and it's been fun. I think our special teams have been strong this year, and those guys have really taken that to heart to make a difference. And when you see a block punt, it's particularly when it's an all-out pressure. It takes everybody doing their assignment to make it work. And so I'm really proud of those guys. They've done a great job. And a lot of the hidden yardage, as we mentioned earlier, has just been how good that scheme has allowed us to catch most footballs. And we've had very few rolls. Now one got away from us in the game, and it was catastrophic.
Yeah.
They ended up downing it down on the 5 right before half. Kind of took us off some points, I thought. But they've done a great job in the back row of communicating and catching the ball and saving lost yardage.
This is, in a lot of ways, a pretty experienced team. We've talked about it, very even-keeled. But at the same time, you've got some young guys who are getting their first taste of playoff experience. We saw Gavin Delzeal, just a sophomore, become just the third Wildcat ever to hit from 50 yards out on a field goal attempt. Blake Eaton, obviously, being a sophomore quarterback, this was his first big opportunity. I thought Colby Kalakaua made big plays on defense all afternoon. What did it say about the younger guys on this team that they seemed so unfazed and unrattled, just like their older counterparts, even when they were faced with adversity?
Well, hopefully it means that they're confident in what they're doing and they're prepared. I think preparation is motivating, and so. But yeah, I'm proud of them. I mean, at this point, they're not young. I mean, we've got 10 games under our belt now, so everybody's a veteran, whether you're a freshman or a fifth-year senior. So that's kind of nice.
You guys, another thing that you've had to face this week that maybe you haven't week in and week out has been with a really experienced front on both sides of the ball for Pomona Pittsburgh. A lot of fifth-year seniors on that team. This is going to be another big factor this upcoming week against Bethel. This is a team that is top 10 in the country in the fewest sacks and tackles for loss allowed. How do you guys get pressure the way you've been able to all season against this talented of an offensive front?
Well, it's probably going to be hard. Usually guys have stats like that for a reason. So, obviously being running the ball and trying to stay out, of long passing situations is something they do well, which puts their offensive line in a good position. It's sure hard to pass pro when it's 3rd and 12, as opposed to 3rd and 3. So I think, stopping the run will still be really important to generating pass rush because it changes the scenario. So, we still got to win the one-on-one matchups, and I like our D-line a lot. I love our defense. I love how they're playing. I think they're still getting better every game, and they're going to have to. It's a very talented team they're facing, so you're right.
After the game, I ran into Marquise Berliat, Wildcat alum, and he said that you had him say a couple words in the post-game huddle, and one of the things he was talking about was the preparation and how, with no classes, this is an NFL week. You guys have your guys on Thanksgiving break right now as you prepare for the biggest game of the year to this point. How is this week different in preparation than maybe the usual type of week during the fall semester?
Right. Great question. Yeah, it's a really unique week. Absolutely, the no classes. So that just that is what he meant by the NFL week. Guys don't have to go to class. They can just work on lifting and their rehab. And so I think it's a nice chance to rest and get your sleep caught up. You don't have to worry about papers to get in and all the juggling act that the guys typically have. So hopefully they can rest up and get healed up. And then of course it's Thanksgiving break. So we're gonna everything's different. We're gonna have the guys go home for Thanksgiving, and that's always a little scary, sending everybody home and hope they all come back safe and sound, of course. So taking a little bit of a gamble there, but we want our guys to be able to go home and experience that holiday with their friends and family, and then we'll get back and practice on Friday.
This is going to be the first time that you've hosted a game after the first round since 2015. I was kind of surprised that it had been that long when I looked it up last night, but just how does it change things in the playoffs when you've got that home field advantage? I know obviously you guys will play anyone, anywhere, but being in the Cat Dome is obviously going to give you guys a little bit of an edge at least.
Oh, it certainly does. I mean, you have the home field advantage that's so critical from just the fan support, but I also think it means, one, you're supposed to be good. That's why you got the home game. So I think it's always easier to win on the road because theoretically, at home because you're theoretically supposed to be the better team. But I don't know if that's the case. I'm just saying that always makes me laugh. Why is it so hard to win on the road? Well, normally because you're playing a team that's ranked higher than you. So that's the biggest issue. But I think the travel is hard. And I feel for Bethel. Like, traveling on Thanksgiving is the worst possible time to go. It's really difficult. And so just the logistics and being out of your regular routine is a real factor. And time change can be a real factor, all those things. Weather can be huge. And so playing at home, you get used to your weather. You're sleeping in your own bed. It's really quite an advantage.
Once again, Wildcats hosting the number 13 Bethel Royals of the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. That game will be this Saturday for round 2 of the playoffs, 12:05 kickoff. And we'll, of course, have live coverage on the LSN and Portland CW. Coach, thanks for the time.
Thank you.